Let's call this what it is. This is appeasement of communist China. For economic gain. We tried that in the 1930s, and look where that got us. Why is this Labour government kowtowing to China?
In this video, watch how the likes of Richard Tice and Francois corner the Labour minister over the new Chinese embassy and its threat to British national security.
Richard Tice.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. So the Chinese communist regime, they sanction members of this House. They spy on members of this House. They carry out more cyber attacks than any other country. And the Minister admits that they are a national security threat. And yet the government thinks it's a good idea to kowtow to the Beijing bullies and allow this mega embassy. If it's in the national economic interest, Minister, could the Minister confirm that some British steel might be used in this Chinese embassy? And can he guarantee that this is in our national security interest completely for British citizens?
Minister.
What I am clear about is that this government will engage pragmatically, do the right thing, secure the economic opportunities, but fundamentally will always make sure that we will underpin our national security. And
there's a pattern of behaviour here. The failure to act meaningfully over Jimmy Lai, the mysterious collapse of the Chinese spy case, and now this abject national humiliation. Let's call this what it is. This is appeasement of communist China. For economic gain. We tried that in the 1930s, and look where that got us. Why is this Labour government kowtowing to China, a communist regime that imprisons 1 million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps for having the temerity to believe in God?
Well, in one sense, I can agree with the Right Honourable Gentleman that there is a pattern of behaviour. He's right about that. The pattern of behaviour is doing the right thing and making sure that we safeguard our national security.
Does the Minister believe that the approval of this mega Chinese embassy makes the British people safer?
Minister.
Well, the Right Honourable Gentleman is very experienced from his own time in government, and he will know that difficult decisions have to be made. But it is my judgment, ultimately, this is the right way to proceed, that we do have to engage with China for the reasons that I've explained, but ultimately, nothing will prevent this government from ensuring our national security. And that's why we've progressed this proposal incredibly carefully, and that's why we've made sure that we've got the right mitigations in place.
Colin Lockhart.
Deputy Speaker, last week I made it clear that any hostile intelligence service would struggle to find a better location for espionage than the now approved mega Chinese embassy. What assessment has now been made of the risk that this site could be used for surveillance, intimidation or coercion of critics of the oppressive communist regime living in the UK, and how the government justify a decision that is both shameful and reckless in the disregard for national security?
Well, I'm grateful to her for the points that she's made, but I would just say to her, of course, we're already dealing with those challenges. There are some honourable members who seem to think that we don't have to mitigate and manage those risks at the moment. We do. There are those...
China is notoriously transactional in its international relations. So what do we get in return?
Well, I always listen very carefully to the Right Honourable Gentleman, not least because I seem to remember that he was the PPS to the then Prime Minister Lord Cameron, when the then government had quite a different relationship with China to the one that we have now. He will remember that very well, as do I.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'm going to ask again, does this make the British public safer? Yes or no?
Minister.
Fundamentally, government is there to make the British people safer. And for the reasons I've explained, I'm confident that from a national security perspective, this is the right decision.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Let us be in no doubt about the threat China poses. MI5 has warned that Chinese intelligence is actively trying to disrupt our democracy. Bounties have been placed on the heads of Hong Kong campaigners. Members of this House have been directly spied on by China. China actively supports Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine and China is infiltrating universities and businesses to acquire sensitive technology, as well as stealing it directly from these demands. The Prime Minister himself said to President Xi at the G20 in November 2024, and I quote, "You raised the Chinese embassy building in London when we spoke on the telephone. We have since taken action by calling in that application." In other words, the Prime Minister did precisely what President Xi told him to do, and then he faithfully reported back afterwards. This decision has serious implications. Last week, The Telegraph published plans showing 208 secret rooms and a hidden chamber just 1 metre from critical data cables. Our economy depends on those cables, so what assurance can the Minister give that those cables will be secure from Chinese interference? Now, in paragraph, it gets worse because paragraph 8.63 onwards of the inspector's report admits that China can legally refuse to allow UK authorities to inspect the building during or after construction. So we're going to have no idea what they're actually building in there in any event. It is clear this decision is timed shortly before a planned trip by the Prime Minister to China. He apparently intends to seek some kind of economic deal with China in order to fix the mess he and the Chancellor have created here, with jobs down and unemployment up since the election. From its timing and from President Xi's clear demands, this planning consent appears linked to the Prime Minister's imminent visit and linked to the economic deal. It seems clear to me that they are trading national security for economic links, and this is a shameless capitulation to China's demands.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I listened very carefully to what the Shadow Home Secretary had to say. There was a glaring gap in his analysis, and he didn't seem to want to have to say anything about the level of challenge that we inherited from the previous government in terms of the laydown of the diplomatic estate. He didn't want to accept that, as with other countries, there is a degree of risk which has to be managed.
There is so much to unpack there. First, you had Mark Francois calling it out as 1930s style appeasement. Then you had the Northern Irish MP pointing out that this is the perfect location for espionage. But the most terrifying part was the detail from Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary. 28 secret rooms, a hidden chamber right next to critical data cables, and the Chinese have the legal right to refuse UK inspectors from entering the site. The minister admitted the decision maker hadn't even seen the unredacted plans. As the Shadow Home Secretary proved, this looks like a direct order from President Xi to Keir Starmer to get a trade deal. They are selling out our national security for a quick economic win. Do you feel safer knowing this is being built in London? Let me know in the comments. Please hit the like and subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.